Hey Mark, thanks for the picture. Thanks for being patient there. Actually, just was able to sit down and go through your pictures. So I think it's going to be a good balance of some up lights and accent lights and some path lights. What I'm going to say with this project though is I think what you're going to find is you're going to put some in and you're going to probably want to add more down the road. I'm going to suggest starting with fewer, seeing how it looks, how you like it, and then from there building onto that. So just keeping in mind that we'll probably want to size the transformer a little bit bigger, make sure there's lots of extra wire at each fixture in case you want to tap into it later. But the way I would go around this project, first starting off in this garden here, I think it's going to be a combination of path lights and accent lights here. What I would love to see you be able to do is accent a couple of these plants. So this might be, for whatever reason, I like accenting the tall grasses and stuff. So I would probably try and accent a grass and accent your flowers. It might be, I would say from this side, the reason being is because I think we're going to use path lights over here. So I would try and get two accent lights on these plants here. And then we'll just try and get a better look. And then I would try and use some path lighting around here. So I'd probably try and throw a path light here. You're going to have an accent light here. So I'd maybe try and path light over here and a path light over here. I probably wouldn't do more than that because as we get around the house, there's going to be some big trees that we're going to want to focus on. So moving around here, I know there's some better pictures. There we go. So it depends how you want to do this area. I mean, one thing I would love to see, it's going to be a little bit more work because you would have to get wire under the sidewalk, but I think using some accent lights on the stonework would look really good if you placed one kind of in the bed here in the middle of the window and then over here and had three of them focusing up on that. I'll leave that as a personal preference because what you might also want to do is highlight this tree, and the way I would probably do that is I'd probably actually use two accent lights and try and get it at two angles because it is a little bit wider, a little bit bushier. I think you're going to want to see that from more than one angle. So if you did that tree as opposed to the back there, that I would probably choose one or the other. Again, you could always add later, but I think choosing one or the other would be a better way to go. If you did do the back and just decided to skip this tree, I think it'd be okay because you've got some trees over here that I would focus on highlighting. And if I go to some other pictures, yeah, we can see them, I think, a little bit better here. So I don't know if you need to do every one, but I would probably try and do at least every second one. So if you don't do this tree, I would probably try and accent this one. Because it is a larger evergreen, you're going to want to try and get that light a little bit further back to really spread that light on the tree. So if you don't do this one, I'd probably try and do this one and this one. If you do decide to accent this one, then I would probably try and accent this one, right? And just kind of, you don't have to do every one, but maybe balance it. And again, like I said, down the road, if you want to add more, well, then you can definitely do that. But I always like the idea of starting with less and then adding on down the road. So, and I would keep that same theme here. I think kind of every second one would be plenty. And then if I'm getting the flow right, this is maybe where you want to start adding some path lights. I don't think you necessarily need to in this area, but I'll tell you why is because as we kind of start going around here, this is where I would maybe start adding some path lights. So in this area, if you have an accent light back there, or you're doing this tree, I might try and throw a path light in here, like a path and garden light here, over here, and then kind of as we go around this little walkway area, and same thing on this side here. So yeah, better look if you keep going. You know, we kind of had one back there, kind of had one over here. Now we're maybe moving one in here, and then this would be an area, because it's going to be so tough to get any lights in there, I would probably stick again with some pathway lighting. So if you kind of had one back in here a little bit closer to the deck, you've got one here, and then you kind of stagger them and you have one more over here, and then going around all these what I'm expecting or suspect are junipers and whatnot. It's going to be so tough to bury any kind of lights or anything in there. Plus this stuff just grows like crazy, so you're going to want to light it from above. So that's why I would just kind of do the perimeter with some path lighting around those. Yeah, and again, you can even come up to here because now you have a path light here that highlights this, and maybe one on the corner, one down here, and then you've got a few more going around the side. So that would be my preference. I think it's going to be the easiest for you too, and I think it'll still look really good because it'll create a nice outline of that area. And then if we go to the front of the house here, I'm assuming this is the front of the house, but either way, what I would probably try and do is get some accent lights that kind of highlight the siding. And not that the siding is anything you really want to highlight, but it's more as just that look that it creates, and if you can balance it behind the windows, whereas you might have to do a little trimming back here to be able to get the light in here so that it shines up. That is probably the way that I would highlight that area. Yeah, so a better picture there, highlighting that and that with an accent light, and then I would do the same thing on this side of the window. And I know you have a light there, but you don't typically keep that on all the time, whereas this would just be a nice ambient light that you kind of have all the time that showcases the home. And because you have this nice brick here, I'm just always a big fan of highlighting that. I know you have a walkway here. The one thing I would say is obviously some path lights staggered would look good, but I'm always hesitant to do that in a grass area because then you're going to have to start trimming around it. That's totally up to you. If you don't mind doing that, then by all means you can put some path and garden lights kind of staggering this walkway, or if you put a bedder here, a bed, mulch bed or something so that you didn't have to, that's probably what I would do. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't do much with this walkway just because it's going to create some maintenance issues down the road. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea, or at least some thoughts and ideas to go off of. Let me know what you think of those and what you're thinking for a number of lights. I don't want to put together any kits or pricing or anything together for you just yet until I get a better feel of what you think of those ideas and what might make sense. And hopefully I'm seeing the property in the right angles and stuff. It's always a little trickier with pictures than actually being on site, but I think that would be a good way to start. Highlighting the front, outlining the paths and the perimeters of these areas, focusing on every odd tree or so, not every single one. Some of the bigger trees, like in the previous pictures, would be a good option as well. Yeah, like we said in here, focusing a little bit on some of these beds and smaller shrubs always looks good too. I'm not too sure what's here. I don't know if you need anything here so much. The only thing I would possibly do is if there was an accent light, I could shoot up there, and I'm not sure if there's a bed here that you could shoot one there and one over there. That would be another option or something else I would consider. So if you have any questions, let me know. Send me an email. Go check on the website. These are pretty much the lights that I'm talking about, is the path and garden lights for a lot of the perimeter areas, and then your accent and up lights are these guys here. So play around with it. Feel free to go kind of play around, add things to your cart, work with a budget and stuff, and then let me know what you're thinking, and then I can size wire, transformer, all that, and make sure that we have lots of room for the future too. So any other questions, let me know. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks again for watching, guys, as we show you how to easily install low voltage landscape lighting. So there's various different lights you can look at. The most popular is easily the uplight, accent light, or bullet light, often used to highlight different trees and features in your yard. Another very popular light is a wash light, often used to highlight the fronts of homes and beautiful stonework. Path and garden lighting is also very popular, to use to light walkways and garden areas and plant material down below, as well as hardscape lighting, which is used in different kinds of hardscapes as well as on fences and decks, and can also create some cool effects. And a great way to see what looks good is just to take a flashlight or any kind of light around at night, shine it on a few of those features, and really see what looks good and where you're going to position those lights. I strongly recommend looking at LED energy efficient bulbs for all of your landscape lighting. It saves on power and it lasts a long time. You see they only use 40 watts, 260 lumens, is very bright, and they still have that warm white look that you would find in an incandescent fixture. And if you have an existing landscape lighting system that is incandescent, it's very easy to retrofit with LED bulbs, again, just to save power and not have to be changing bulbs all the time. What we often recommend is go and find really good quality outdoor rated LED bulbs, and then go find really good incandescent fixtures and just marry the two together. Retrofit your incandescent fixtures with really good quality LED bulbs, and it'll help bring the cost down rather than going and buying a fully integrated LED fixture, which looks good and lasts a long time, but they do cost a lot more than doing this and just finding a really good fixture and retrofitting it with a really good bulb. So once you know where you're going to put your lights and you have your lights picked out, the next step is to start placing your lights. So we've determined where they're going to go. Start by digging just a small hole and just preliminarily placing your lights. I recommend using a rubber mallet so that you can really pound those ground stakes in and give them some good stability. Screw your light in afterwards so you can really get it in there. Make sure everything's level, and then from there you start laying out your wire once you got all your lights in place, and be sure to leave extra wire at every fixture just to give yourself some wiggle room. Connecting the lights is quite simple. When you make your splice in your wire, you'll have a wire going in and a wire going out for each connection, as well as your fixture wire, and at every light you're going to have two of those connections. I recommend a good waterproof connection, either a gel-filled snap block connector or these gel-filled DBR-Y connectors that come in two parts, that you have a moret that screws on and keeps the wires tight, and then the wire fills into a gel-filled tube that keeps the water out. So just be sure to make sure you're getting good waterproof connections that keep the wires free of the elements as well as keep them from pulling apart. The next step is selecting your transformer. It's very easy to do. If you look on any bulb that you purchase, it should give you the wattage, but if you have a 4.5 watt bulb and you have 10 of those, that's going to give you 45 watts, which means you want to select a transformer that's just slightly bigger than that. And I recommend trying to find a transformer that has a photocell as well as a timer built into it for easy use. Very easy to wire in your transformer. Depending on the transformer you have, it's generally going to have a common tap and a 12 volt tap. You just put one wire into each tap, screw them down tight, mount your transformer close to your GFCI receptacle so that you can get power, plug it in, turn it on, and go and make sure all your lights work before you start burying any wire. So once you've checked all your lights and everything works, you can start burying them. One thing I would recommend is looking at the Weon outdoor Wi-Fi switch. Is a great tool if you want to make your landscape lighting system totally smart and Wi-Fi operated. To bury the wires, very easy with a flat-ended shovel, creating a trench that's 6 to 8 inches deep, spreading the turf open and pushing that wire down and stomping it down within no time at all. It looks like you haven't even been there. And in the mulch, it's just a matter of pulling it back and creating a path to lay down that wire, stapling it down and burying everything over that. So hopefully that helped. And if you have any questions, by all means, you can always reach out to us and follow us on Facebook and YouTube.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching that video. I hope you guys got some great ideas for your own do-it-yourself landscape lighting projects. If you want your own free consultation video, like I said before, email me your pictures at cal@lightingdoctor.ca or go and visit us at lightingdoctor.ca, and be sure to check out our Try It Before You Buy It light, again, where you get one premium grade fixture and a King Innovation Instalight battery operated demo kit that you can go and test those lights out on your property before you make any big purchases. So I hope to see you guys again soon. And again, go get your free consultations by emailing your pictures or visit us at lightingdoctor.ca. Thanks so much for watching.